Hi, my loves. That's what y'all are to me. You're my loves. You're what I live for. You, the people who view this channel. That's why I'm returning to what I call my struggle channel. And I had abandoned my struggle channel because I wanted to make it more highly produced and come back when I could make it a less than struggle channel, or I should say, more than a struggle channel. But what I love is that some people who had no hope got some hope from the videos I did make, struggle and all, ugly and all. And that's the reason for the name change on the channel. The ugly doctor came from the fact that one, I really have never considered myself an aesthetically pretty person, and that's why it's so hard for me to show my face on camera sometimes. However, it's not about me. My loves are you people who get hope from my story. My story that's not very pretty at all. And now I'm not even talking about physical, superficial outer appearance. I'm talking about my story, the fact that I'm a non-practicing, non-licensed medical doctor who went to medical school and completed that and got into my number 1 ranked residency, but did not complete that. That's pretty ugly, right? That can leave you in a pretty hopeless place, right? Yes, I've been there. But the email that I want to talk about that I did receive is not from a medical student, even though I have received those. But that's not the one I want to talk about today, and it's not from a pre-med. I want to talk about one that I most recently received from a person who's caught in that cycle of trying to get medical help and has lost hope and quickly is feeling uncared for. That's the person I want to talk to, and maybe that's you. And if you're still listening, I'm going to say you are one of my loves. You're the reason that I'm still going and I still feel like I have a purpose, because I've been on both the ugly patient side and the ugly side of trying to become a physician. There are lots of reasons for why things may not work out on either side. But at the end of the day, you might feel like that reason lies with you because sometimes it's by design. Um, Doctors are human and they don't like to fail. And regardless of how impersonal, impolite they can be, and seemingly uncaring, most people that became a physician and decided that they were going to do the hard work for that, they do care about people, or they did at one point. And patients that they can't make better, or patients who they can't provide answers for, do not make them feel good. And a lot of times they got to shift that blame and that guilt to someone else. And unfortunately, it lands on the patient a lot of times, and it lands on the most vulnerable of patients, a patient who's seeking answers, and the objective tests are not backing them up, yet their symptoms are just as real as any diagnosis that's recognized already. Um, just because no one can figure out what's wrong with you or offer you solutions doesn't make your suffering any less, but it sure can make you lose hope. And I am here because I've been on that side. I've also been on the side of losing hope, as far as ever being the person I dreamed of being, a physician. And that can be pretty rough too. So that's why I'm back to my struggle channel. I feel like there's enough people out there that have reached out, enough stories out there that is worth it. Is worth me putting my ugly self, my ugly story out there and being transparent and saying, hey, this is what I've learned. So this is not medical advice, but it is medical hope. And I'm going to go line by line in the most recent letter I received from a patient caught in this very, very taxing loop of trying to get help and only getting worse. And kind of tell you where the hope is. So please stay tuned for that. So, my loves, this letter comes in response to my medical diaries, emergency medical care in 2023 video. So, this person, whose name I will omit, writes, "Hello there. I saw your video on YouTube recently and thought that I would reach out to you for some help. I've been suffering for over 2 years from a mysterious illness that has taken over my life and has made it so that I am barely functional. I've gone from healthy, successful, full of energy, and had a job to basically bedridden in the last year. I am 28 years old. My condition has caused me a severe balance impairment, severe fatigue, headache, GI issues, and neurological issues such as disorientation and confusion. I have seen many doctors and have not received any treatment and only bare minimum tests. My blood work has shown off, but they have not done anything to address this and have basically blamed me and told me that I am being dramatic and that I am fine. I know that there is something seriously wrong, and I have gotten to the point where I'm so miserable and frustrated, I have given up hope of having my life back and just wish that this illness would kill me already. The doctors have not offered me any sort of help, and I am repeatedly ignored and gaslit by them. I have been trying to stand up for myself, but I haven't even been successful in getting them to take me seriously. I have some known health issues that I personally believe to be caused by this underlying issue, but all of the health issues are mild enough at this point that they do not explain my symptoms. I'm desperately looking for some help and figured I'd reach out and see if you have any suggestions for me to get the doctors to listen to me. I appreciate your time reading this and thank you. I want to respond to this person on the channel because I did reach back out to them. However, I haven't heard back from them, and I have a suspicion that they are in that category of person who it probably takes a lot for them to reach out these days, because if every time you reach out you get a negative response, it's harder and harder to reach out again. And I think it took them a lot to even reach out to me at this level. And they probably just as quickly as they mustered up some courage to reach out, I think they just as quickly lost hope. I hope to this person that it helped you just to write this out. And I hope it helps you now, if you're listening, to know that I care. Like I said, you are the reason that I do this. You are the reason that I find time to put videos on my struggle channel here. So let me pick out some salient things in their letter, some things that really hit me. I'm sure a lot of them hit you too, anyone else who's listening. I'm going to start with the fact that she says that she hasn't been taken seriously, and she wants my advice on getting them to listen to her. And I did make a video called "When Doctors Don't Listen" and things that you can do. And I could review those things in a future video. However, I just want to talk about this from the approach of, this is not medical advice. This is how to live after medical advice is no longer being offered to you. If you have a problem, a mysterious illness, as she put it, please go at least submit your symptoms to a doctor, be evaluated, be assessed. But once a doctor has signed off on your case and told you nothing is wrong with you, and you know something is wrong with you, what do? So you, my loves, are specifically who I'm speaking to today. So she asked me, how do I get doctors to listen to me? Um, my love, sometimes they're not going to. Sometimes they have fully signed off. So if they gave you a follow-up appointment, please attend that. Um, at least keep trying if they're still trying. Beyond that, I think that you know that something's off, as you said. I think that it would be very unusual for a healthy, successful, full of energy person who had a job to go to basically bedridden because they are faking. Um, Surely that sounds ridiculous to you just like it does to me. So I believe you. I know you are suffering. But if a doctor has said you are not suffering and they're not going to help you, this is what you have to do. You have to do your own trial and error. And when you find something that works, even if it works just a little bit, I almost called your name because my heart goes out to you. And I'm trying to talk to you like a friend, but I don't want to put you out there because you wrote specifically to me, not in the comment section. So I'm telling you that if you've been signed off on, you're going to have to do your own trial and error, your own scientific method. Um, you've made your observations, now come up with hypotheses, and you're going to have to experiment on yourself. And even if something works just a little bit, you're going to lean into that. And I'm telling you this from my own experience because I, like you, have things that doctors agree are diagnosed issues that show up on lab objective imaging tests and all of those. And then I've had problems that don't reflect on those things, but I know they're there. So let me take one of the symptoms you gave me and demonstrate what I'm talking about. I'm going to go to this line where you say, my condition has caused me a severe balance impairment, severe fatigue, headache, GI issues, and neurological issues such as disorientation and confusion. All of these, just one of these symptoms, sounds like it would be a significant impact on your life. But I'm going to go for the severe fatigue first to tackle because I'm telling you that you have to be proactive and do something. And severe fatigue will certainly hinder that. So if we can get over that severe fatigue, then maybe we can start to address some of these other problems. So when I give this advice, that's not medical advice, but advice for getting your hope back and trying to get your life back, I want you to do your observation and research. And when you come up with your hypothesis, your educated guess on what might work, I want you to go back to a real licensed doctor and say, is it okay if I try this? So severe fatigue, this is what we are going to attack first because yes, a headache is bad. Yes, GI issues are bad. But if you can't do anything about them, if you physically can't do things, how are you going to try things out? So let's talk about when you don't feel as fatigued. What makes you feel like you can actually do something? One of the strangest paradoxes in physiology that I have observed is that a lot of times the thing that you are most apprehensive about doing naturally is the thing that will make you feel better. For instance, I have rheumatoid arthritis, and when I wake up, I have something called morning stiffness. So my intuition is I don't want to move. But the faster I get to moving and the more I move, the less stiffness I have and the better my day goes. When you are severely fatigued, you have no inclination to try and exercise. But so many people, if you do your research, have found that when they do exercise, they actually get more energy. Now, I want you to understand, my love, that you're going to have to overcome a mental component. I'm not saying that these things are in your head, but I am saying that our brain likes patterns. And in other words, it likes habits. So if you're not in the habit of exercising, if you're in the habit of being bedridden, your brain is not going to like trying to move around. So, what I want you to do is to, even if your doctor is not on the best terms with you now, whatever doctor you see, I want you to ask them what they would suggest as far as starting to get back into exercising, as far as getting over what they call deconditioning. I want you to ask them what would be a first step. This will serve a few purposes. One, you are establishing communication with your physician again. And you asked me how to get them to listen. Well, they're not listening anymore, and they probably won't for the moment. But you're going to invite them to talk and for them to give you advice. And in some way, you're acknowledging their position. You're saying, okay, nothing is wrong with me, so tell me how to move forward. Now, I know there's something wrong with you. You know there's something wrong with you. However, you want you and your doctor to get on the same page as soon as possible and as much as possible. And if you can get him or her to help you start an exercise program safely, if that is successful, that can only help you. So let's look at this severe fatigue first. Okay, that's what I want to end this first video talking about. Let's attack the severe fatigue. Now, I've also noticed in my own life that when I've tried to do something quick, like drink coffee, um, I was doing it the wrong way. I wasn't getting energy when I woke up in the morning, drank a cup of coffee. It was not serving me, not doing anything. So I have heard from other people that cortisol, well, I do know this from my training. You do have a um, pulse release of cortisol in the morning. So when you wake up in the morning, you get a dose of cortisol release, most people. And that gives you some energy for most people. Maybe your system is broken in that way, but let's assume it's not. Um, so drinking coffee at that time is not the most productive way to use coffee. So drinking coffee a little later in the morning, more like 10 to 11, has been helpful for some people. So that's the kind of research and kind of things that I want you to gather for yourself. See if you can find some things that you think might help, and then make an appointment with your physician and say, I want to try to overcome my severe fatigue. And since you've cleared me and said that there are no physiological serious causes of my problem, can you help me to exercise and get on an exercise program? And what do you think about using coffee to help me and maybe drinking it at from 10 to 11 every day? And use your doctor in the way that they're willing to help you. Because most doctors, if you come to them and say, I want to start an exercise program, can you help me with that? They're not going to tell you that it's all in your head or that there's nothing wrong with you. They're going to help you, and you may even establish a better relationship with your physician. Okay. And then after that, if the fatigue is getting better, lean into the things that y'all came up with, lean into the exercise, and start developing a brain pattern that says that we don't do bedridden anymore. we're going to do something else. And I know it's going to be hard. I believe everything you wrote here. I don't believe that someone goes from a full life and having a job to barely functional voluntarily. So I just want you to start with this one thing. Let's try to do whatever we can to get out of bed. Let's try to ally with our physician and listen to him or her and let them guide you in these first steps. And as they give you what to do, do as much of it as you can in baby steps. If you're getting better, do more of it. Okay. And then see if that doesn't help some of the other problems. And I just want you to take baby steps and regain a good relationship with your physician. Or if that's not possible and it's possible to get another physician, let's do that and start there with them. You don't want them to end up in the same approach as the other one may be with you now, trying to convince you that there's nothing wrong with you. I think you go to them and you tell them that you've been told by a physician that you've been cleared of all major problems being the source of your symptoms, and now you're trying to address your symptoms with a better lifestyle change, with a lifestyle change that's healthy. And maybe can you help me with exercise and overcoming deconditioning? Sorry, I've been talking a while and my voice is squeaking. So if you've hung in this long on the video, I thank you. I have to leave my struggle channel now and go back to my 3 kids, but I had to start in on this letter and tell you that I'll be back doing some videos, answering some letters, because y'all are my loves and y'all are part of the reason that I got my hope back. Thank you. I'll see you next time.